Dear children, let's continue our poem Once Upon a Time. We have finished four stanzas. In the fourth stanza, the poet has learned what type of, according to the different situations, according to the different people at the different places, how he has changed, what type of faces he has to wear. Okay, in the fifth stanza also, still he continues what has he learned. Let me read the fifth stanza. And I have learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it has been nice talking to you after being bored. In the first three lines, and I have learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. What has he learned? The poet has learned that to means I have also learned. Already, what has he learned? That is mentioned in the fourth stanza. So he again continues that what has he learned to? He also learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. Okay, without my heart means without wholeheartedness, without frankness, without sincerity. He has to learn. He has to learn shake hands, and only he has to learn laugh with only his teeth only. His teeth. Okay, without showing any emotions, without showing true happiness, true sincerity, he has to express his smile only with his teeth. Now come to the next line. I also learn to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. Now let's see the meaning of good riddance. Good riddance means a feeling of relief when an unwanted person leaves us. Okay, when we are being bored, actually we have to want that such a person has to leave early. Here also good riddance, a feeling of relief when an unwanted person leaves us. Goodbye. But the poet here learn to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. When he feels when he feels when he wants to get relief from an unwanted person, he has learned to say goodbye. Okay. Next one, to say glad to meet you without being glad. To say glad to meet you without being glad. Glad means happiness. Glad to meet you means happy to meet you. Actually, without being glad, actually he doesn't feel very happy. Even though he has to say that glad to meet you. This is also learned by the poet. So he had learned what has he learned? He has learned to smile without sincerity. He has learned to smile without wholeheartedness. He has learned to say goodbye even though he is not happy with the persons, and also he has learned to say glad to meet you without having any happiness. Next one, and to say it has been nice talking to you after being bored. Actually, after being bored, after being bored by the other person, we have to say that goodbye. But here the poet has learned to say it has been nice talking to you. Okay, after after a lengthy discussion also with the same person, uh, he felt, of course, he might have felt bored. Even then, he has to say that. He has learned to say that it has been nice talking to you. These are all called oxymorons. What is an oxymoron? Two contradictory expressions are mentioned in the same sentence. Actually, you see, if you observe this sentence, it has been nice talking to you after being bored. Actually, after being bored, you have to say goodbye. But here, the poet has learned it has been nice talking to you. Here also, without being glad to meet you. Actually, he felt uh, unhappy. He felt unhappy, even though he has to say that he has learned to say that glad to meet you. These are all called oxymorons. The poet used these oxymorons, that is called poetic device or figure of speech in this particular stanza. Now let's see some important question and answers regarding reading comprehension from stanza 5 of Once Upon a Time. See the first question. Has the poet changed according to the people's behavior? How can you say? Yes, he has changed. This was directly mentioned by the poet in the first line. In the first line, the poet directly mentioned that he had changed according to the people. Next one. What do you mean by good riddance? You know, good riddance, it is an expression of relief at being of at being free of any unwanted person. When we want to leave an unwanted person, we have to use that expression good riddance. Next one, which poetic device or which figure of speech is used by the poet in this stanza? That is oxymoron. You know oxymoron, two contradictory expressions are used in the same sentence, that is called oxymoron.